going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome on in to 1TS Daily right here at One True Sports. How's it going? I'm your host, Zack Heydorn. Pumped to be here today. Oh, and man, do we've got a lot to talk about. My goodness, Monday Night Raw last night, chock full of news stories. And since that is what we do here on 1TS Daily, we'll be covering it all. We'll be covering it all, and man, it's going to be quite the show. It's going to be quite the show. Before we get started here, just want to take care of some business. This is 1TS Daily. It is Tuesday, June 18th, 2024, and this is One True Sport. Make sure you're heading to onetruesport.com to find out and learn about everything that we do here at One True Sport. We've got membership tiers galore so that you can experience what we do at One True Sport in a way that's curated best for you. And that includes access, lots and lots of access. We've got access to legends. We got access to hosts. We've got so much at your fingertips if you sign up to be a member of One True Sport. So it's onetruesport.com. Go there right now. Pick out your membership tier that works best for you and enjoy. We also have some really cool merch options and then just information about One True Sport. So make that part of your day, onetruesport.com. I also think you need to hit subscribe here if you haven't done so already. I think that's a good idea. We've got a lot of cool content going up on our One True Sport YouTube channel. So hit subscribe, turn on your notifications so you don't miss anything. And if you can, and if you're willing, hit that like button on the video. It helps us out greatly in terms of the, the algorithm of the internet and YouTube and all that jazz. So thank you in advance for that. I'm your host. I'm Zack Heydorn. You can find more of me at Brass Ring Media. That's my little pro wrestling content shop. We kind of take an approach over there of just longer form analysis of professional wrestling. And we've got a YouTube channel, which we are live on every single day of the week with various shows, different co-hosts, but all within the same framework and theme of longer form pro wrestling analysis. We also have written content on our Substack. So you can search Brass Ring Media Substack to subscribe there. Both are free. So it's that easy. And you're on YouTube right now. So just, open up a new window, keep the show going. Hit subscribe over at Brass Ring Media. I think you'll definitely enjoy what myself and my team are doing over there. As for the show today, I've got the live chat open. David's in there. Michael is in there. Going to get to you guys in a minute here. We also have super chats available. And if you're able to, provide a super chat today, any amount is more than appreciated. And so I thank you in advance for that. We'll definitely get to all super chats as the show goes on and as they come in. So definitely don't hold back. Ask a question, make a comment, and it's part of the show. So I hope that you do. Hello to David, who's in our chat. David says, hey, you guys. How's it going, Zach? Hey, man, it's going good. It's going good. It's a good day. It's a beautiful day here in Chicago. And, I'm here on 1TS Daily. I love doing this show with you guys. So super pumped to be here and glad you're here with us, David. Thank you. Michael says, nice interview. Thank you, Michael. First of all, thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here live. And if you missed my interview, I interviewed AJ Francis last week on Brass Ring Media, and he was, man, he was an open book. Like, goodness gracious, he just was so insightful into a multitude of different topics and categories, and was so transparent about his run in NXT, WWE, and now TNA as the digital media champion. So I encourage you to head over to Brass Ring Media and check that out. And Michael, thank you so much for the kind words. So, guys, let's get into it. As everybody's filing in here to the show and everybody's loading up in the live chat, let's talk about last night. Because last night, most of the show is going to be focused on last night's Monday Night Raw. Because look, guys, it was a newsworthy show, top to bottom. It felt like, I don't want to say like post WrestleMania, but it felt like one of the more consequential episodes of Raw in a long time, really long time. And we could start in a multitude of places, right? We could start with Drew McIntyre and him quitting WWE and having that be a storyline. We could start with Seth Rollins returning, which was a nice surprise. Not just returning on Raw, but returning and scheduling a match for Money in the Bank against Damian Priest for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. We could start in both those places. Heck, we could start with an NXT preview if we wanted. That's how much news there is today. But we will start with the new Wyatt family, with the introduction of Uncle Howdy, or the reintroduction of Uncle Howdy and the Wyatt Six on last night's episode of Raw. So I ask you, before we get into it here and do some analysis and talk about everything that happened, in the chat, what did you think? What did you guys think? Michael, David, everybody else who's in there, drop me a line. I want to hear your thoughts on what you thought about the Wyatt Six debut, or re-debut for Uncle Howdy, but the debut of the Six. Here's how it went down. All throughout the night last night on the show, there were like little hints that something was going to happen. Obviously, the big countdown that they've been doing for the last several weeks came to an end on last night. You know, so that was the big tease that something was going to happen with all of that. But WWE decided to like plant other sort of Easter eggs into the programming last night. And what I thought was the coolest was when they were shooting something in the ring, like a promo or something to that end, in the background, like up in the stands, they strategically had placed like shadows of people. And you couldn't tell who those people were. It was just shadows to make you kind of look up and think. But it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. And it was nice to see WWE kind of take the approach of like, you know, okay, we're going to make this a really big deal, and the Easter eggs are fun. So let's take it a step further and go forward with that in that way. So I thought that was really cool. So that was the first big indication. But then, you know, the main event happens. The Jey Uso wins the triple threat match over Finn Balor, and oh my gosh, the other competitor is escaping me right now. It's Finn Balor. It was Jey Uso. Who the heck was it? Oh my gosh. I got to go look this up now. I don't want to get this wrong. Someone's in the chat. Save me. It wasn't Dom. It wasn't JD. Who was it? All right, I'm looking it up. We'll get to it. We'll get to it very, very soon. All right, here we go. It was Rey Mysterio. That's who it was. Okay, so the main event last night was Rey Mysterio versus Finn Balor versus Jey Uso and the winner was going to earn a shot at in Money in the Bank. So it was a Money in the Bank qualifying match. After the match ends clean, or relative clean in terms of involvement with this Wyatt Six. Jey Uso wins. He celebrates in the crowd. They opened up to this like wide shot right after he started celebrating, and there was time left. I mean, so that's one of the problems of doing this debut when they did it. You know, you knew something was coming at the end of the show because there was just there's just too much time left, and so they had to fill the time with something. And boom, lights go out, and then they proceed to like go into this really kind of like eerie, creepy, chilling thing. You know, Nikki Cross, she crawls out to the top of the ramp where there's the Bray Wyatt lantern. Then the cameraman takes a walk backstage, and as he does, he sees all the production people in Gorilla laid out. They're not moving, and he finds each one of like the Wyatt Six members until they get to Uncle Howdy, who's in the back. They passed Chad Gable, who was knocked unconscious and bleeding. Nobody else was around. Everybody was decimated backstage. And this group promised a massacre. And WWE delivered on that promise. Uncle Howdy is caught backstage, and then he walks out. His guys follow him, and they kind of gather at the top of the ramp. Howdy picks up the lantern, the Wyatt lantern, and says, "We're here," blows it out, and the show ends. Pretty chilling. In execution, I thought it was very well done. I thought that, they promised a massacre with this reveal, and they delivered on one. And I think that's key. That's the start, right? You got to deliver what, if it would have just been one guy that they just beat up in like a brawl backstage, a la, the NWO in 1996, it just wouldn't have had the same. It just wouldn't have landed the same. I mean, this needed to be something dark. It needed to be something twisted. It needed to be something really intense and a little uncomfortable. And I think they hit all those notes. All those notes they hit. I like just the production value of the cameraman, like being brave enough and like heading backstage and trying to film what happened. And they got some really good shots, and it looked good. I think you could have made this at WWE in the past, has made these kind of things look really cheesy. But this I thought was good. I thought this was impactful. I thought the music in the background, just that kind of those piano notes that were just kind of, hitting in rhythm as all this went down, helped in terms of making it like a chilling but memorable angle and memorable debut. And then you just have like the overarching Bray Wyatt, tone over it, and just the sadness of what happened to him and the tragedy that his passing was. And everybody, or many people in this group, like Bo Dallas, obviously that's Bray was his brother. Eric Rowan is rumored to be a member of this group. They've, we're very great friends and part of the Wyatt family together. Like, there's just such an intense connection with some of those guys. And this felt so much like a Bray Wyatt production, like a Bray Wyatt thing, that, that it was hard not to like conjure up thoughts of Bray Wyatt and emotions surrounding Bray Wyatt as you watch this, which I think added to the intensity. It added to the intrigue a little too, but really like it added to the emotion. It added to, the kind of uncomfortable nature of what they did. And I thought it worked. I thought it worked really, really well. So I give thumbs up on the execution here. Let's go to the chat and pick up what some people are saying about this. Heather, thanks so much for tuning in live. Heather, appreciate you. Heather says, I liked it, but would have been better to include Braun Strowman. Interesting. Let's get back. Let's put a pin in that, Heather. We'll get back to that in a second. David says, I'm excited to see this thing unfold. I'm happy it is still being brought to life despite the tragic loss of Wyndham. I really enjoyed this intro teaser, and I look forward to the next several weeks. Yeah, that's where I'm at, David. I'm in a position here where I'm like, that was good. That was a strong debut. Let's see where it goes. Let's see where it goes from here. As far as including Braun Strowman, yeah, I mean, like, there's pros and cons to that, right, Heather? Like, Braun Strowman, for better, whether you like him or don't like him, he's made a spot for himself on the main roster because of his size, because of like the one note move set that he has and the spots that he can do, and if you put him in this faction, although it makes perfect sense because he was involved with the Wyatt family and with Bray Wyatt in his past, if you do it, you take him out of that other character. And it kind of leaves a bit of a void as on the other side, as like a diverse performer who looks different and acts different, talks different than everybody else on the show. And I think Paul Levesque, Triple H, likes having him as a resource to that end, where you can do a lot with him. He can be a serious guy. He can be a comedy guy. He can be a squash guy. You can do a lot with him. He's not going to be your world champion, of course. I don't think that's in the cards, but I think he's valuable away from this faction. As cool as it would have been to have him in it. It's like opportunity cost. If you have him in this, you don't have him elsewhere. And I think Paul Levesque wants him elsewhere. The question now is, what next for these guys? And the biggest issue and the biggest hurdle that Bray Wyatt and WWE and Vince McMahon never overcame was what to do next. Like, how do you take, this Wyatt world and this Wyatt idea and these Wyatt characters and have payoffs with their stories work in the confines of a pro wrestling ring? Right? Like, that's key. You have to be able to do that. And I think if you look back at what Bray Wyatt did, and you look back at his body of work, whether it's The Fiend or whether it's the Wyatt family or whether it's the middle ground Bray Wyatt where he's got like the smoke coming out of the lantern, like, you just didn't have enough strong payoffs in the wrestling ring. And it's a wrestling show after all, right? I mean, it's not a horror movie. It's not a movie. It's not a TV show. It is a pro wrestling show. So you have to find ways, and you have to, hopefully they've gone into this ready for those pivots and ready for how they're going to make this work in the confines of a pro wrestling match. Because look, if you do Supernatural, okay, I think that's fine. Sometimes I think that it has a place in professional wrestling. I think it does. I think it can. But successful Supernatural and pro wrestling still was able to pay off in the ring. Undertaker, Kane, those guys are the two best examples that there are. And those guys were able to have matches, not just with themselves, but with other people too, and for championships and top guy status. Like, that was all there. And so I think that this has a lot of potential. I think it has a really high ceiling, but you have to get it to a place where it can pay off in the ring. And that was missing from other Bray Wyatt and Wyatt style stuff. So hopefully they can find that here. But, it certainly set a really strong hook for WWE programming in the future. Do they make an appearance on SmackDown? Right? I mean, they could. I mean, they're not like an act that, or I hope not. I hope not anyway. I hope they're not an act that, gets put into the WWE draft. That seems like a little awkward. So like seemingly they can go wherever they want. And so maybe they do end up on SmackDown this week to kind of continue that story. If not, the big hook for Raw is going to be, whoa, like what happened there? What's this faction all about? What are they doing? So we'll have to see, but I think it's got high potential. It just has to work in the confines of the ring. Live chat's open, you guys. Super chats are open. Thanks to everybody who's tuning in live on YouTube. Thanks to everybody who's tuning in live on Twitter. Thanks to everybody who's listening after the fact, not live. I appreciate all of you. Thanks so much for being here. Like the video if you can. Subscribe to our channel if you can. I think you'll be happy that you did. Let's get into some other news. Seth Rollins. Like, this would be an A topic in normal weeks. But it's a B topic today because you just had a crazy ending. Seth Rollins is back in WWE. Looked great last night. He looked refreshed. You kind of look at him. You think about how he looked in pictures and just like how he moved around at WrestleMania. Like, you can tell he was in bad shape, like health wise. Injury wise. And so he looked fresh. He looked ready to go. He is back. I mean, like, merch is out there for him, but more so than that, he is going to wrestle Damian Priest for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at Money in the Bank. What'd you guys think of that promo last night that he cut? Hit me up in the chat. Eddie's already in there saying, I was shocked that Seth returned so quickly. Yeah. So like one or two things, either like, WWE, and they do this often, they over dramatize an injury so that when their talent comes back, it's a surprise and, fans are genuinely surprised and happy. So it could have just been that. Most likely that's what it was, but it still made for a cool surprise on Raw. And even bigger than that was the showdown with Damian Priest. I I like that they're going to this match right away. I like that, that Seth is going to challenge for the title again. I like that, he can kind of come back and be the conquering, returning babyface if WWE wants to play that card. Seth can be good in that role. I thought his promo this week was strong. I thought Damian Priest's promo was strong. I thought Damian Priest, like, telling Seth, hey, no, this might have been your title, but it's not anymore. It's my title, and you're going to have to beat me for it. And I thought, like, you saw more hints of a Damian Priest babyface turn in how he reacted to Seth Rollins, right? He didn't plant this, like, long, convoluted path that Seth's going to have to jump through 8 hoops in order to get a title shot. He was just like, you know what, Seth? Let's find out who's the best. No ladder match, no Money in the Bank, nothing like that. I'm just going to give you a title shot because you deserve one. Boom. Now you have the match. But that was very, very, very babyface in nature. And then, you have the potential of what we're talking about here, or what we've been talking about on this show, is what do you do at SummerSlam with Gunther? He's going to be in the world title match. Babyface Damian Priest versus Gunther. Yeah, that works. But is it a SummerSlam match? I mean, yeah, it is, because I think Gunther winning the world title is a big deal. But Seth versus Gunther is significantly stronger of a match for SummerSlam. I think Eddie agrees. He says here, put the belt on Seth. Gunther beating Seth would be a lot bigger than beating Priest. Yeah, that's the thing. And not is it only bigger that way, but it's just a bigger match in general. Like, I think that's more of like your SummerSlam level match. And so, what happens to Damian Priest? My guess is, like, the Judgment Day thing blows up by the time they get to SummerSlam, and that's his match. It's Priest against Finn Balor or something like that at SummerSlam, and that's okay too. Damian's had his run, so it's going to be interesting to see WWE kind of thread the needle on this. But the bottom line is, Seth's back, and he gives Monday Night Raw a big jolt in star power that they really need. I mean, the show's been solid. The show's been good. I think the matches have been good generally. I think the storylines are strong, but it since WrestleMania, it has missed, like, that tip top level star. And now Seth's back, and soon Punk's going to be back. And all of that is going to help the show, in a very big way. So Seth Rollins versus Damian Priest, it's ready. It's there. It's announced. We're getting it. Money in the Bank in just a couple weeks. Eddie also jumps in here and says, you can have Finn accidentally screw Damian at Money in the Bank. Yeah, accidentally or on purpose, right? I mean, if you really want, Finn Balor to be a true heel, you could have him, screw over Priest and kick him out of the Judgment Day, and then have Priest, be building himself back up towards retribution and revenge against those guys. And that could be, his story of the summer. I think that's likely where we're headed, guys. I think that's likely where we're headed. Also, yesterday on Raw, Drew McIntyre quit WWE. He shuts down all of his social media, walks to the ring after getting screwed over by CM Punk at Clash at the Castle. He said on the microphone under his breath, not under his breath, but like quietly in the microphone, screw this company, and says he can't do this anymore, and he quits. He walks off. WWE did a nice job here of shooting him quitting, because he quit, and then the cameras followed him backstage. They saw Triple H trying to talk some sense into him. We saw Adam Pearce trying to talk some sense into him. None of it worked, but it's exactly, what you think would happen. You saw with your own eyes what you would think would happen in a situation like that if a top talent up and quit on live TV without anybody knowing. I think that was pretty cool that they showed that backstage and caught that for everybody to see. It helps the storyline, yes, but it also helps present Drew as a big star that nobody wants to lose, right? That Adam Pearce doesn't want to lose, that Paul Levesque doesn't want to lose. And I think the way that they shot this conveyed that. in a really strong way. So thumbs up on that. I thought, and as I said last week, or not last week, I keep saying last week, yesterday, as I said yesterday, Drew needed a home run promo this week to kind of tie up the loose ends of CM Punk really being the heel in this. And Drew started out doing a good job, I think. Like, he's totally valid in his criticisms of the company, and he's totally valid to be upset about how he lost. Still, the crowd was cheering for CM Punk over him yesterday. Chants for CM Punk all throughout his promo that he cut in the ring. So that's a good sign if you're WWE. But you still want a Drew McIntyre out there hitting the home run with the promo and making sure people know that he's the heel. Like, and I don't know how you do that at this point, because he's not, like, just as Eddie says here, Punk has flat up in the heel in this feud with Drew. Yeah, he has. And so it's really hard to pivot on that. But hey, that's what you pay your big stars for. And, I think that was an important thing. Now, he didn't do that, and they went an entirely different direction. It's almost like they punted, on that explanation and went, you know what? We're not ready for that. We don't really know what we want to do. We don't know how we want to address this. So let's just have Drew seem like a whiny baby and have him take his ball and go home and quit. And it's intriguing. I think they played like a good card here. I think it's like kind of like an ace in the hole, if you will, but it worked. It worked to kind of kick the can down the road, get out of the, Glasgow, Scotland ecosystem and world where we've been for the last few weeks, and now get into a new area for the feud that reminds people that Drew is definitely the heel and Punk is definitely the babyface. Eddie suggests here, have Drew attack Mrs. CM Punk. She's a trained wrestler. Yeah, Eddie. I mean, that would certainly get some heat on Drew, no question. Excuse me. But I would not bet on that. Don't hold your breath. I don't think that's going to happen. First of all, WWE rarely does serious, man-on-woman violence, which is what this would have to be if it were going to be successful. And I don't think anybody likes watching that. I'm not a big fan of watching that. And so, yeah, I just don't think that's in the cards. The other thing is, I don't know that Punk would want that either. So good idea, Eddie, if you're looking for heat, but I don't think it's going to happen. So Drew deleted all of his social media accounts. You had WWE comment on that. They called it out. So we'll see where this goes, but an intriguing chapter in the storyline. Let's move to tonight. It's NXT tonight. Big show. It's a 25-man battle royal for a shot at the NXT Championship and NXT Heatwave. There's going to be some surprises in this. We don't know the full list of the 25 folks that are going to be competing in this match, but Cody teased yesterday in announcing it that there's going to be people from different locker rooms. My guess is we get a good jolt of TNA talent here. I bet we get a few main roster people. I also maybe some people from Noah, maybe some Noah stars are involved. But yeah, it's not just going to be NXT folks. Kalani Jordan will defend her Women's North American Championship tonight for the first time against Michin. Roxanne Perez and Lola Vice will team up to take on Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson and JC Jane and Jasmine Nix in a triple threat tag team match. And finally, NXT North American Champion Obafemi is going to speak. I'm looking forward to that. That Obafemi has some promo skills, man. He can cut a promo, and he's got a nice, strong presence out there. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he does on the microphone. Who do you think is going to win this this NXT Championship Battle Royal? Is it going to be somebody new? Is it going to be somebody from TNA? Is it going to be someone from Japan, main roster? I kind of think it's going to be someone from TNA. That's what I think. Trick Williams is the champion. I mean, it'd be pretty cool for Josh Alexander to be in this spot and, get a shot at Trick Williams. I think that would draw a number for NXT. I think that would push push some viewership. I think people would be interested to see that. People who aren't necessarily paying attention to NXT regularly, but know Josh Alexander, you're going to bring fans in with those, with a match like that. So I'll just take Josh Alexander just to have fun with it. We'll see what happens there. But that's NXT. All right, we'll wrap up here with Nuggets, 1TS Daily Nuggets here for Tuesday, June 18th. According to Lucha Libre Online, they report that WWE is looking to establish alliances and agreements with companies in both Puerto Rico and Mexico. So this goes along with what we've been talking about since the TNA partnership was announced and the NOAH partnership was announced. WWE is looking for strategic partners in key geographic areas of the world. That's what they want. Rather than go and set up their own shop, they can tap into these other places, partner with these other companies, have access to some talent that they wouldn't ordinarily have access to, and also kind of look like the cool kids in school that are open to doing these kinds of partnerships, a la Tony Khan. Partnerships that Vince McMahon wouldn't have been open to doing. That's what's at hand here. This news does not surprise me one bit. Also, per PW Insider, WWE had but unsuccessfully tried to get one more appearance out of Ricochet. Pitches, this is according to PW Insider, pitches for Ricochet to make that appearance have gone nowhere. And so now the belief within WWE is that no more Ricochet. We've seen the last of him on TV, and he will leave the company in July when his contract is over. So, they left the door open for a potential, return match for Ricochet, even if it was just a one-off, like a way to, get one more appearance out of him, a good big return match, maybe like, I don't know, retirement angle of some kind, and with Braun Breaker. And it's not going that way. So there you have it. I mean, Ricochet is definitely going to be leaving the company per PW Insider, and I think that's the right move for him. I really do. I think, he's kind of been chewed up and spit out in WWE too many times. And now if he can go to AEW, if he can go to TNA, maybe he goes back to Japan. Like either way, I think he can reinvent himself a bit and kind of shed some of that, the stink of his push that he's gotten since joining the WWE main roster. So, good on him. Good on him. Great show, you guys. Thank you so much. Thanks to everybody who joined in the chat. Eddie and David and Heather and Michael and everybody who listened and watched live on YouTube and Twitter. I appreciate you. Of course, we're back tomorrow. 1TS Daily, right here, 11 Eastern, 10 Central. I'm Zack Heydorn. You can follow more of my work at Brass Ring Media. Find us on YouTube. We've got live content all week long. We've got other content up. As I said, we got that content with AJ Francis. Thank you so much in advance for heading over there and subscribing. Also, make sure you head over to onetruesport.com. That's where you can find our membership options. There are a whole bunch of them with different perks. You'll love it. Give us a shot. Let us earn your business. And I think you'll be really, really happy that you did. Cool. Thanks so much, all. I will catch you guys tomorrow. Same place, same time right here, 1TS Daily. See you. Have a good day.